If you enjoy quiet, realistic horror stories, subscribe to the channel. This is what started happening in my house after my mother died. When my mother was alive, she believed that a messy house was a dangerous house, not because of dirt or germs, but because disorder, according to her, invited things that didn't belong. And she treated this belief with a seriousness that I never fully understood while she was still around. Every object had a place, and if something was moved, even slightly, she noticed, correcting it without complaint, as if she were restoring balance rather than cleaning. And she often reminded me, quietly, patiently, to put things back where they belonged, because one day, she said, I'd be grateful for the habit. I never listened. I was careless, lazy, and convinced that she worried too much. And even as her health declined and she spent more time resting than walking through the house, she still made the effort to keep everything in order, as if she were afraid of what might happen if she stopped. 3 months ago, she died in her sleep. No warning, no final words, just a morning where I couldn't wake her up. And after the funeral, after the neighbors stopped checking in, after the sympathy faded, I was left alone in a house that suddenly felt far too big for one person. At first, life continued normally. I stopped cleaning as often, left plates in the sink overnight, tossed my keys onto the couch, and let laundry pile up because no one was there to remind me anymore. And grief has a way of lowering your standards without you noticing. Then the house started correcting me. It began subtly, almost kindly. I'd wake up to find my keys hanging neatly on the hook by the door, shoes aligned by the wall, the couch cushions straightened, and dishes washed and dried, and I told myself it was grief playing tricks on my memory, that maybe I'd cleaned up without realizing it, that maybe my mother's habits had finally rubbed off on me. But the house was too precise. Every morning, without fail, everything was where it belonged, and every door was locked. At first, it was just the front and back doors, which I assumed I must have locked out of habit. But then I noticed the bathroom door locked from the outside, the storage room sealed shut, and one morning even my bedroom door was locked, forcing me to unlock it from the inside, my hands shaking as I stood there trying to understand how that was possible. I live alone. There were no signs of a break-in, no damaged locks, no open windows, and yet the house behaved as if someone had walked through it carefully, methodically, securing everything. I tried to ignore it. I told myself fear needed encouragement to grow, and I wasn't going to give it that. But one night, I decided to test the house, to prove to myself that there was a rational explanation. Before going to bed, I left my bedroom door unlocked and placed a thin strip of tape across the frame, something that couldn't be removed without tearing. And I scattered my belongings deliberately, keys on the floor, wallet on the counter, books open and face down, shoes kicked off unevenly. Then I went to sleep. When I woke up, the tape was gone. The door was locked. Everything was back in place. And for the first time since her death, the air smelled faintly of the herbal oil my mother used to apply before bed, a smell so specific that it made my chest tighten instantly. That's when I remembered something she used to say. "If I ever leave before you," she once told me, half smiling as she folded laundry, "I'll still make sure you're safe." I stopped sleeping properly after that. Some nights I stayed awake in the living room with the lights off, watching the hallway, listening for movement, recording audio on my phone, but nothing ever happened while I watched, and yet every morning the house was reset again, calmer and cleaner than before. I began finding small changes. Windows closed that I knew I'd left open, the stove knobs turned off perfectly straight, a blanket folded at the foot of my bed that I hadn't touched in weeks, and once, just once, a cup of warm tea left on the kitchen counter exactly the way my mother used to make it, untouched, as if waiting for me. Terrified and exhausted, I contacted a ghost hunter I found online, someone who claimed to deal with non-violent presences. And the moment he stepped inside the house, he grew quiet. "This place isn't angry, it's careful," he said, after walking through each room. He asked me about my mother, what she was like, how she treated me, whether she worried often, and when I told him the truth, that she'd been overprotective, anxious, always afraid something would happen to me, his expression softened. "She doesn't know she's gone," she said gently. she still thinks it's her job to take care of you. He offered to help her move on, to perform a cleansing, but the thought of waking up in a house where no one locked doors, no one put things back, no one quietly watched over me felt worse than the fear itself. So I told him to leave. That night, I unlocked every door in the house. I left things scattered everywhere. I even whispered into the empty hallway, telling her that I was fine, that she didn't need to worry anymore. In the morning, everything was back in place. Every door was locked, and on the kitchen table was a small note written in shaky but familiar handwriting. Good boys stay safe. I still live in that house. I still get careless, and every morning the house forgives me. Because some mothers never stop protecting their children, not even after death.